What is up, everybody? Welcome to another live stream. So today I was working on an app and I got to a point to where I was implementing a system that I've done a couple of times now, and I've never seen anybody share how to do something like this. So I figured, hey, why not do it, right? It's how to create a cancel button or an undo type of system for a quick edit. So when you're inside of an AppSheet app, when you're inside of a form, any changes that you make are temporary, right? Until you hit save. So if you do something and you don't want to keep those saves, keep those edits, you can just hit cancel and they all go away. Okay, but if you're inside of a quick edit where you're in like the detail form and you change something, as soon as the focus leaves whatever field you're in, like as soon as you click out, or if you're inside like a date selector and you hit set, as soon as you do that, the edit is sent, and if it's done. And so there's no undo. So I'm going to create an undo process, an undo system right now. Thanks for joining me. Welcome. Okay, so here I am with my app, and I've already got some stuff already done. I started along the process, and it was like, okay, I should go live with this and share it with people. So the way that this works, so if I just give you the idea is, so this is like an appointment scheduling thing, and this is the management side, and so I want a way that I can easily change the date of something. So like if we call somebody and they want to reschedule their appointment, we can come here to their record, right? And then you see this here. So I want to be able to just click this reschedule button, and then instead of it taking me somewhere else to change something or going into the form to modify something, I want to stay here, because there's a disconnect that happens in the mind of users when there's a transition that happens. So we're on a screen and we want to do something, and then we push a button, and then there's some animations and stuff that happens. We still know what we're doing if we show the person, rescheduling whatever, and there's this field, but there's still that disconnect that happens. So it's easier to just make it to where you can do a quick edit. They stay where they are. The thing becomes modifiable. They change it. Hit yes, confirm, we're good. Yes, I'm happy with that change, or cancel, and move on. So the way that I'm going to make this work is there's a few things that you have to do beforehand that are part of your data schema, if you want to call it, of the different columns that you have. All right, and so if we go and all right, this is on the appointments table. So one thing that you need is, so in order to conditionally flag when this field right here and the starting time theoretically should be modifiable, that piece of data has to be stored somewhere. And so I found it's easiest to just put an extra column inside the table. So this is the appointment table. You can see like this is the type of appointment, the date, blah, 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 blah. Simply, it's scheduling things, right? So if we go all the way over here to the very end, we find I have a column called form type. And so this is what I use, is just like a temporary flag holder for things. And so you don't have to call it form type, but you need some kind of column to hold a flag that says we're doing something special with this record. Then you can create, conditional views and actions that show or don't show based on that flag being present. So you need that. And then in order to, the idea here is they have already made a change to the piece of data. And so the original data, we need to store that somewhere, because we're trying to create an undo button, and there is no undo in AppSheet. As soon as the edit's done, and if you have like updates turned on, it starts shooting off to the cloud right away. So we have to store that somewhere. So just like I included another column for that temporary flag, we also need a column to hold another piece of data, right? So you can call it whatever you want. I have a column that I include by default in all of my tables called workflow trigger. And what I use this for is exactly what it's called. I use it to trigger workflows. So I have an action that will put a value inside that column there, and all of my workflows are watching this workflow trigger column for specific values. And so when they see it, they clear the trigger, and then they do whatever they're supposed to do. So I naturally have these in my table, but you're going to need to include 2 extra columns. One for like a temporary flag holder, and then one that's going to be just a data holder. Okay, so you've got your 2 extra columns inside your data source, right? So then inside, and now you hide those inside your app because obviously we don't need to see those. So if we go and we look at the appointment columns down here, the end of the table, you can see we have workflow trigger, form type, and they're both hidden because these are like systematic things we're using in the background. Okay, so we've got form type, which is the one that we're going to use to flag that, okay, we're rescheduling this appointment, and then workflow trigger we're going to use to hold the original data. The original date is all I'm going to do is the date at this point. I will have to, because there's 2 pieces of data, I'll need 2 columns to store. You know, I might as well just do that right now. So I'm just going to call this like extra 1. Wait for it to save. We come back here to appointments, regenerate the column structure. All right. So yeah, for each individual piece of data that you want to be able to undo, you're going to need a separate hidden column somewhere to store that value, the original value. And so the way that this whole thing works is you have the reschedule button that somebody taps, and when they tap that, let me show you. Let me make sure I hide this. Okay, so we have the reschedule button, and what this does is if I go and I find, yep, here we go, reschedule. So you can see this thing, it's setting the value of some column, right? And so it's setting the form type to reschedule because I'm using reschedule as my keyword for all the other things that are going to be watching. You have, now here's where the data storage comes into play. You have workflow trigger, right? That's that extra column that's hidden. I'm having that hold the date, and then I'm going to have extra 1 hold the time. Starting time. Okay. Actually, no, it's not starting time. I forgot. I'm going with slot claimed. That's specific for my, I get that down here. This thing. That's the one I actually have to hold. Because the way that we've done this system is it's not actually, you don't actually enter a time that you want to do, you actually select a slot. So maybe for purposes of this video live stream, I'm just going to do the date for now, and I'll do the time stuff later on my own time. It'll be more complicated and involved. I want to keep this short, trying to keep it short. I'm already at like 10 minutes. So the idea here is when you tap this reschedule button, right, it sets the form type to reschedule so we can have conditional things fire off, and it'll save the original date that somebody has selected inside the workflow trigger. That way we can keep it. Okay, so now what we need to do is, so when they tap this, the form type is going to get set to reschedule. And now I want to be able to modify this date inside this detail view. So if we go to the view and I show you the quick edit, I want to set this as the date. And so now you can see we can quick edit it all the time. Now, I don't want to be able to edit that all the time. I only want to be able to edit that when someone taps that reschedule button, which sets that form type and flags that record. Then we can reschedule that and modify it. So what I need to do then is go back to the column structure, and for the date, inside the editable column, we need to set up a formula. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make use of context inside of a switch. So switch, context, view type. So if it's a form, true, right? Because I always want to see it inside of a form. Actually, yeah. I always want to see it inside of a form. If it's a detail view, then I only want to see it if my form type, what is that? Form type equals reschedule. Otherwise, false. So like table views and all those other things, can't modify it there. So now with that into play, I'm going to come here and I'm going to save this. And so with all of the form types being empty, that field should go away. It shouldn't go away. It should become uneditable. And so that's how you get the conditionality of the edit based on when someone's pushing a button. I have a flag, and you have the edit formula looking at the flag. See? And now when I do this, it's editable. Boom. And now I'm going to push this into the cloud. And so if I show you, so here's what happened. So we took the form type is set to reschedule, and the workflow trigger is holding the text version of the date time, which I'm hoping I don't have to reformat that in some weird ways. Dates can be weird. So like, I don't even know how to do. I'm just gonna leave it and see if the system will just work. So now we have it to where when I push the button, we save the date and we set the flag, and now we can edit the field. So I can change this to, you know, whatever I want. I can say, nope, I want to all the way back here. Now you see, as soon as I exited that field, the change has been made. And so if we go and we look at this same top record here, the date's now 9/17. So if I did that on accident, you know what I mean, or whatever happened, and I need to undo this, there's no way to undo that originally. And so, but if we look, I've saved that original value here. And so now what I need to do is, if there's a cancel, we need to undo whatever cancel, or you can make it undo. We need to undo whatever changes that person made to to whatever column it is. And so there's a corresponding cancel action. You can see I already have that one here. And so what this one does, it's conditional to only show up when the form type is hit to reschedule, right? Because that's the only time I want to see this. And then, so what it does is it clears the form type. It sets the donation date to the date value of whatever workflow trigger is. I'm hoping that reconverts it back into a date. And then it sets the workflow trigger and it clears it off. Now, I'm hoping that it does these in their order and that I don't have to separate out this workflow trigger separation. I might have to do that and make the cancel button a stack where it like resets the date and then clears everything afterwards. Might have to do that. I'm hoping I can get away with it all in one shot. We'll see. So I've changed this. This action is already created, so if I hit this, this should go back to the second. Back to the second. Boom. And it's not editable anymore because we cleared the form type. And if that's pushed, we see workflow trigger's gone. Oh, I like it when things work. And the date's set back to what it was. And that is how you create an undo system using actions. You need 2 extra columns, or correction, you need 1 column to engage the system, and then one column for every extra bit of data that you're going to have to hold that you might need to reset. All of that needs to be present inside the same table for the record. And then a few actions, one to like turn it on and store the data, and then one to reset stuff if somebody doesn't want to accept that. We need one more. So we need one more to accept the thing that we just, the changes that we just made, which is really simple. All we got to do is clear that form type out. So this will be clear form. Can't type. Okay, and it's just gonna set this to two double quotes, blank, go away. Accept, I think would be a good one. How about we give it a thumbs up. So when you hit reschedule, okay, we got to come down here, and so I'm just going to steal the condition that I have for, not that one, for cancel, because I want it to show up the same time that the cancel one shows up. So for our condition, the form type equals reschedule, and the this accept button with a thumbs up will appear. Let's see that in action. That was pretty quick. About 20 minutes. Not bad. I can't think of anything else that we would need to do to make this work. We've got the button to engage the system. We've got a cancel and a go. Yeah, that's it. Awesome. So I have my extra one to deal with after we go. Check it. Yep. So if I change this to the 17th, good to go. That's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you have any questions about, how to do things like this, I'm trying to do things like this a little more often. Live stream, just kind of do it on the fly like this. It's a little easier. And yeah, hey, thanks. If you want to support me in all the things that I do, I have a Patreon page. You can see a little thing right here. Patreon.com/MultiTech, $10 a month. You get some special auto tables, some templates to like automatically conform things when you add it to your app. Some special in-app guides that I've made to talk about how to do some really crazy stuff. Some like there's one in there about how to do what is it? It's how to integrate a gas script, so a Google script, right? So I took there's a thing from Levent where he went step by step on what you had to do, and he had like all the base code, and I took that and I made like a little generator thing out of it. So you just take your bit of code, you add it into it, and it generates everything you need, and it all just works. And it's a guide on how to do that, and there's other crazy things like that. Anyways, thanks y'all. Happy apping.